Airports have a strange way of exposing people. Some walk through them stressed, others anxious. But every so often, someone walks through with quiet dignity, the kind that unsettles those who only respect what they recognize. That was Mr. Harold Owens. Late 70s, gray beard, slow steps, soft eyes. Dressed modestly, navy jacket, pressed pants, clean shoes. He held his passport and boarding pass like they were the most valuable things in the world. And in a way, they were. He had worked for decades to earn the freedom to travel. This trip wasn't just a vacation, it was a memory in the making. His first time flying first class. A gift from his son. But that didn't matter to her. The flight attendant behind the check-in desk didn't see any of that. Didn't ask, didn't smile, didn't even make eye contact. She looked at the man standing in front of her and saw only one thing. Someone who didn't look like he belonged there. "Sir," she said flatly, "you're in the wrong line. Economy's over there." Mr. Owens blinked, gently held up his boarding pass. "No, ma'am. This says first class." Her lips tightened. She took the ticket. Scanned it. Looked him up and down. And then, in front of everyone waiting behind him, she said it. "He's not first-class material." The words dropped like a slap across the face. Loud enough for the people behind him to hear. Soft enough that she could pretend it wasn't meant that way. But it was. He knew. Everyone knew. Still, Mr. Owens stayed calm. "Ma'am," he said softly, "is there a problem with my ticket?" Instead of answering, she tore the boarding pass clean down the middle and tossed the pieces in the trash beside her. "You'll have to wait while I verify this," she said coldly. "Step aside." People in line began whispering. A couple looked at each other, eyebrows raised. But no one said anything. Because that's how things usually go, right? The louder voice wins. The uniform decides the truth. Before I tell you what happened next, and the moment this entire airport terminal went silent, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Because what you're about to hear isn't just a story. It's a reminder that appearances lie. And respect is never optional. Harold stood to the side, near the barrier, his hands now empty. He didn't protest. Didn't shout. He just watched her continue checking in other passengers, pretending he didn't exist. His back ached. His legs trembled slightly. But he stayed still. The man 2 spots behind him stepped forward and said, "Excuse me. Did you just tear that man's ticket?" She looked up sharply. "Is there something you need?" The man held up his phone. "You're being recorded." Her face changed. Suddenly, she wasn't confident, she was calculating. "I need him re-verified. It's standard protocol." But that wasn't true. And she knew it. She turned away, muttering something into her radio. Harold turned too, slowly, and sat on the edge of a bench nearby. His breathing had changed, shallow, quiet. What she didn't notice was the man who had just walked into the terminal behind her. Tall. Sharp suit. Calm but intense eyes. He didn't speak yet. He just watched. Took in the scene. He saw the shredded ticket. Saw the tension. Saw the man sitting alone, head lowered, the same man who had raised him. Because Harold Owens wasn't alone. And the woman at the counter had no idea that she had just humiliated the father of the airline's executive director. But we're not there yet. We're still in the moment before that truth comes crashing down. The moment of silence. The moment of pain. And if you've ever felt that silence, the one where you're still deciding if you should speak or just take it, this part is for you. Because what happened to Harold happens to people every day. And the only difference between walking away and being seen is alignment. That's why I want to share something with you. Something quiet, but powerful. It's called the 369 Manifestation Code. It's a 3-digit frequency technique rooted in Nikola Tesla's discoveries, and it's helping people shift their energy, confidence, and opportunities in under 24 hours. No shouting. No begging. Just results. You'll find the link in the first pinned comment below. Click it when you're ready to stop being invisible, and start being undeniable. Back at the terminal, the murmurs were growing louder. Passengers were watching. Someone had already tagged the airline on social media. And finally, the suited man stepped forward. He didn't shout. Didn't announce who he was. He simply asked, "Is there a problem with this gentleman's boarding pass?" The flight attendant turned, slightly flustered. "It's being re-verified." He raised an eyebrow. "Even though you already scanned it?" She hesitated. There was a discrepancy. He reached into his coat, pulled out his ID, and placed it on the counter. "Good. Because I'd like to verify something, too." The flight attendant stared at the ID. Her mouth opened slightly, but no words came out. The man standing in front of her was Caleb Owens, senior executive director of the airline, and the son of the man whose ticket she had just ripped in half. He didn't introduce himself again. Didn't wave a title around. He simply looked at her, eyes calm but piercing. "I'd like to hear, in your own words," he said slowly, "why my father was removed from the check-in line." She blinked rapidly. I didn't know he was your." "I didn't ask if you knew," Caleb interrupted. "I asked why." "I thought his ticket was invalid," she stammered. "You scanned it yourself," he replied. "It cleared." "What made you tear it up?" The silence that followed was suffocating. People around the terminal were no longer pretending not to watch. Phones were recording. Employees froze mid-task. The atmosphere had shifted, from busy airport chaos, to courtroom stillness. Caleb turned to his father, who was now standing, quietly dignified despite the weight of what had just happened. "Dad," he said gently. "Do you want to board the plane?" Harold looked at him, then back at the growing crowd. He nodded. "Yes. But I also want her to learn something." Caleb faced the flight attendant again. "You're off duty. Immediately. Hand your badge to the supervisor." Her face flushed. "You can't do that." "I just did." He didn't raise his voice. Didn't need to. Then he walked over to the boarding gate, leaned in, and spoke quietly with the gate crew. A few seconds later, an announcement played over the loudspeaker. "Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to inform you that all first-class passengers may now begin boarding, starting with Mr. Harold Owens." The room erupted in applause. Not thunderous, but genuine. A soft, respectful, collective gesture of recognition. Harold walked forward slowly. Not with arrogance, but with pride. The same pride he'd carried for decades, through jobs that paid him less than he deserved, through rooms where he wasn't supposed to speak, through moments like this. But this time, someone spoke for him. And the world listened. Later that week, footage from the airport leaked online. Not just the confrontation, but the moment Harold was applauded at the gate. It went viral. News outlets ran headlines like, "Airline executive defends father after discrimination incident." "Flight attendant removed after tearing elderly man's ticket." "Son silently destroys classism at 30,000 feet." But Caleb didn't do interviews. Didn't post statements. Didn't go on camera. All he did was share a single message on his personal page. The measure of power is not how loud you can speak. It's how you use your voice to protect the quiet ones. It got over 1 million shares. But more importantly, it made people think. Because we've all seen moments like this, where someone gets judged not for what they've done, but for what someone thinks they are. And most times, those people never get justice. But this time, they did. Let me leave you with this. The world often misjudges quiet power. It overlooks the elderly, the humble, the patient, thinking they have no voice. But some of the strongest people alive are the ones who don't raise theirs. And if you have ever been dismissed, ignored, or humiliated, not because of your actions, but because of your face, your name, your clothes, or your silence, know this. Your story isn't over. In fact, it's just getting started. And if you're ready to take back your narrative, your confidence, your clarity, your future, here's the first step. Click the link in the first pinned comment and discover the 369 manifestation code. It's a simple, powerful 3-digit technique inspired by Nikola Tesla's frequency theory. And it's helping thousands realign their lives, from income, to confidence, to inner peace. Because the most powerful version of you is the one that doesn't beg to be seen, but becomes unforgettable. If this story touched you, made you think, or reminded you of someone who needs to hear it, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. Have you ever been treated like you didn't belong? We're listening. And never forget, dignity doesn't need a microphone. It just needs one moment to be recognized.